Alright, developer log for June 2026. So this month I have started work on basically finishing the game. So for a very long time, for the last few months, I mostly worked on like getting Demo V3 done. And Demo V3 now is done. You can play it on Steam, link is in the description. So with all of that done, I can now finally start working again to actually finishing the game. So last time when I gave a status update on like where I was with like the levels, so as a recollection, I want to have 15 levels for the game, and I basically stopped at like roughly the halfway point at like finishing map 8. I mean not finishing, but getting to the end of map 8, level 8. And now I've basically started on work with level 9. So I've swapped a whole bunch of things around. So 3 original levels that I had in my mind for level 9, level 10, level 11. Those I've scrapped those, and I've basically changed them with a different idea. So I'm gonna introduce a whole new faction. The way originally it was going to be is that in level 9 you were gonna go and return to Ashore, the alien world. And then you would have like multiple levels that were very similar to like some levels you played earlier. I actually decided I didn't want to do it. I actually want to just introduce a whole new, how do you say it? A whole new environment, a whole new biome, a whole new faction for basically 2 levels before you actually return back to Ashore. And also the return to Ashore is different, and it's going to be a more unique scene and a more unique environment. So I really want to have more unique environments for all of my levels. So yeah, so for level 9 I need to make a whole new faction. So the faction is already a faction that was in the lore. I already planned it to have that in maybe future games, have that faction playable, but it's the Akuseru faction. So they are the, like, I guess Japanese origin faction. Now they still use the voice lines that I have for the Akova soldiers, because I've not yet had. These are just placeholder. I actually now need to figure out how I'm gonna do Japanese voice acting. I mean, obviously I can't do that myself, so I'm gonna have to, I guess, hire someone. I'm also thought about using AI voice acting, since that has gotten really good. The problem with using AI voice acting is that gamers really despise AI. So if you do anything with AI, then they're just gonna review bomb your game, and I really don't want to deal with that. I mean, it can probably be made so good that people don't notice. Like, unlike image-based AI, which you can still tell. You can always still tell with image-based AI, even if it's technically perfect. You can always still tell just by the rough composition and like this kind of like always this extra sharpness that you know that an image is an AI image. But with voice acting, I think you can actually get away with it if you just make sure you have no like weird fragmented errors. But on the other hand, because AI voice acting has basically completely crashed the prices of actual real voice acting, it might actually not be that expensive to get a real voice actor. So, you know, AI gives, AI takes. That's how it is. So yeah, there are now a whole bunch of new, there are going to be 4 new Akuseru security forces. So a guy with a PDW, a guy with a rifle, a guy with a launcher, and a guy with a shotgun. It's not very creative. They're basically just more like reskins of the soldiers. So I don't really see these as like new enemies. So don't worry, it's still I'm not just gonna fill the rest of my game with just reskinned human enemies. That would be extremely boring. So what I also work on is I actually really want more unique and more interesting enemies. Unfortunately, the enemy I'm going to show is already, again, a humanoid enemies. I really want less humanoid enemies. Or at least if they're humanoid, make them really interesting and special. So the new enemy I have started to work on is the samurai bot, since we're sticking with the Japanese theme. And that's the spider walker. So I quickly imported it. It's not yet textured. Okay, that's kind of pointless. I was like, okay, you can't really see it because of the lighting, so I turned off the lighting, but it has the exact same color as the background. So yeah, actually, I should just show it in Blender, because in Blender you can see it way better. So yeah, this is a samurai bot. I quickly made this in like a few days. Very happy with it. It does reuse the Minotaur skeleton, and that's probably something I'm gonna do a bit in like the next few enemies, is that I will probably just reuse skeletons, since that speeds up the process a lot. But yeah, so this is the samurai bot. It has a sword, which I've actually scaled down again, but I have to scale it back up. It also has a arm-mounted rocket launcher. It's gonna have a whole bunch of cool and crazy attacks. And yeah, really look forward on working on the gameplay implementation of this guy. There are also a handful of other enemies that I have in the pipeline, again, non-humanoid enemies for the Akuseru faction. So yeah, there are going to be 2 Akuseru levels. They're not going to be just stupid facilities, even though you do start in one of them, but I actually want to go and make an entire cyberpunk cityscape for that faction. So yeah, that's going to be really cool. So another thing that's, I think, pretty cool is that I also made some new weapons for all of the new Akuseru soldiers, and you can actually pick them up. So the original idea was to only have 3 weapons for each weapon class, but I've actually decided, like, let's just make them available. Because the human AI is just literally just a player character that is just controlled by AI, all of the weapons that I had to make for the AI are still just perfectly usable for the player. So I am gonna make them available. All of these weapons are purposefully like less powerful than the 3 main weapons of each weapon category, but you can basically, I'll probably hit like one of them inside of each level, and if people want to use them, they can. So yeah, there is this one is, I think people are actually probably gonna like this, even though it's technically worse than all the other main weapons, is that it has just a really high fire rate, and I know people love high fire rate weapons. So yeah, it has crazy recoil, it actually does less damage per shot, which makes it less efficient than the 3 main weapons that we have here. So these are like the 3 main weapons, the Commando, the MG, and the, where is it, the PDW. There's also an SMG which does pitiful damage. It's actually, it massively reduces the total amount of damage you can do with an ammo pool, but it has basically no recoil. It also has a relatively fast reload. It does have kind of a small mag size, but yeah. Oh yeah, another thing about all of the Akuseru weapons. All of the Akuseru weapons are caseless, so they don't eject their cases. So if you ask, like, okay, why is there no bullet ejection, it's because it uses caseless ammo. I've decided that that's gonna be like the special thing about these factions' weapons, is that they're completely caseless and they don't eject cases. That also made modeling them a bit easier, and you know, having to not model an ejector is quite nice. This is the like little auto shotgun. So yeah, that's very cool. Another thing that I'm gonna show is I've actually also made an update on the code that I did. Actually, I just decided to do today. Just completely randomly, I woke up tomorrow like, I want to really finish this. So one of the biggest performance issues on CPU was the fact that AI navigation. So AI navigation was pretty bad. Basically, almost every like 0.1 second, the AI calculated a new calculated a new path, a new movement path, like the path that the AI had to follow. And the problem is that was really expensive to do, especially if there were a lot of enemies. Like, it absolutely tanked the frame rate if there were a lot of enemies. So I've now actually introduced asynchronous navigation. So what asynchronous means in a programming sense is that basically the computation power that's needed for navigation gets sent to the other threads, so your main game thread doesn't get disrupted, and then it will call a callback to your main function again, say like, hey, I finished the navigation calculation, here's your navigation path. So I had to rewrite a whole bunch of things, but it works, and surprisingly it worked immediately, and it had a really big effect. I kind of should have done a like before and after, so you're just gonna have to take my word for this. I think this is the correct button, I hope it is. It is. Okay, so that right there is 32 enemies, 32 bots. So you can already see that the frame rate has dropped significantly. Now, keep in mind that CPU performance inside of the editor is significantly worse than a CPU performance in a packaged game. But yeah, this is also kind of like how it was before. However, when I go and... There we go. Okay, you actually saw a bit of a delay there. That's because of all the asynchronous threads were basically running. But you can see that the frame rate stays well above... Okay, well above is a bit of a... It stays above 60. Well above 60. This is perfectly playable. Like, this is really nice. There are 32 enemies. Fully simulated enemies, and the frame rate stays above 60. It did not stay above 60 before. Like, it dropped down to 30 or 40 with the old navigation. This is just an incredible... I mean, I love it. It was one of the things that I really wanted to fix, was like, have the AI take less CPU performance, and I mean, look, it's just And these are expensive guys to run. Like, there are many games that have like a lot of enemies. They use like special trickery to really help with CPU performance. These are fully simulated enemies. Like, they have their own navigation path. They have their own physics simulated in terms of collision. They obviously run their animations, but animations always run asynchronous anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's really... If I look at the sky and basically negate the GPU performance, you can see that it stays at 80 and 90, which means 80 and 90 CPU performance, which is very good. And like, I don't have a monster PC, by the way. Like, I have a mid... I literally developed this game on a mid-tier PC. I don't know my specs. Like, I literally don't know the specs of my PC out of my head, because I'm actually not a spec guy. Like, I don't really care about PC specs. I just want it, as long as games run fine, then I don't care. But yeah, I do not have a super high-end PC, and yeah, even inside of the editor, this is great performance. Fantastic. So yeah, I'm probably gonna be done glazing myself over how good I did the performance on this. Oh, okay, I ran out of the navigation area. There's no navigation area here, so that's why they all stop. That is normal. So yeah, I don't think I'm gonna talk about anything else. I think I actually rambled already a bit too much on all of the things. So yeah, I'm working on the levels. So the plan is, and it's a bit of an ambitious plan, I want all of the levels, so up to level 15, in alpha state, so as long as you can play through them to the end in various stages of completion by the end of the year. By the end of the year, I want to be able to get to the end of the game in, again, various stages of completion, but at least have an endpoint. And then what I can do is go back and refine the things. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of work. But yeah, I mean, I really enjoy this so much more. I kind of was getting burnt out by having to rework a lot of stuff for Demo V3, but now that I'm back on track on actually finishing the game, that really gives me a lot of energy. I love working on enemies. Like, working on this guy was just amazing. I mean, that's how I did it. In like, this is like 8-9 full hours of work, which is really fast. And this is because I work fast, and I can work really fast on this stuff, because I love making new enemies. Like, making new enemies, making new weapons. It's just something I love doing, and I'm also getting faster with like level design. Level design used to be something that I was really slow at, because it just always burned me out. But I actually have gotten good enough at level design and level props that I'm actually speeding it up a little. But yeah, alright, I've rambled enough. Yeah, so that's how the way of the game's going. I probably have a lot of stuff to show next month. Goodbye, bye bye.